free Toyota pickup truck in the shop today, and we're gonna see if we can turn this thing into a drifting machine. If you don't know, we did a full engine swap with a new Tacoma engine in an AutoZone parking lot all the way on the other side of the country. Drove this thing halfway home, had a random stranger install a supercharger on this thing in an O'Reilly's parking lot. Drove it the rest of the way home, and it's basically sat here pretty sad ever since, because when you do all this stuff in parking lots, there's a ton of loose ends. So today we're gonna tie up all those loose ends, upgrade the rear diff, see if this thing can do donuts and burnouts, and if it can't, well, we're gonna have fun trying. So let's get started.
Hey. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Flipping the script from my old ways. Flick up the switch, I'm in flow state. Commas, I'm going through growing pains. I wasn't used to being so gross. I tighten the threads at a crochet. I wake up the cushion, some OJ. The last tape I dropped was a rollway. It's yellow, I swear it's a Coldplay. Viva la vida, I'm swiping the Visa. We working, I'm taking on.
Coming under here, we really need to make a new trans cross member. This one's held in by like 2 bolts. We're gonna use the factory mounting points here and just fabricate an entire new cross member. The exhaust is literally like 48 inches long. So we're gonna make a full new exhaust. That is probably the reason I don't drive it the most. So loud I wear earplugs every time I drive it. Fuel pump definitely needs a new fuel pump mount. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zip ties holding that on. And then up here, to make sure we don't blow this engine up, the oil pan is literally getting assaulted by the axle. So we're gonna extend these bump stops inch, inch and a half, whatever it takes to make sure that does not get a hole in it. So rip this trans cross member out and start fabricating a new one. Should be fairly simple. Now we need to go ahead and lay out all of the different brackets we're gonna need. We're gonna need 2 brackets at the frame side that we can bolt to the frame. We're gonna need another bracket here at the transmission mount side. So we're gonna just go ahead and take a bunch of measurements and get these measured out so we can convert them into CAD. And we can cut them out on the CNC table. So we have all the measurements we need for that, so we can convert it into CAD real quick and then get it cut out. Let's see, perfect. We're actually gonna make one more of these, and we're not gonna cut the center section out because it may just end up being one big piece that we bend to what we need. All right, we now have some plates, and some buttery fingers. Throw this in there. Now, we figure out how we're gonna connect all of this stuff together. What I was planning on doing in my head was doing one piece of steel that just had a bend here and then came up and connected to these plates that we cut here. But that's gonna be really hard to get perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut a big piece here, the big nice plate, and that will be the start, and then we'll just connect this plate with 2 more plates to that, and then we can cut one big 1.5 inch thick 1/8 wall kind of, I don't know, the structure. Right, and now we'll get this bolted on here, and so we've taken some cardboard, done some old school CAD, cardboard aided design, and boom, just like that, we have this fitting. So actual transmission was a little bit out of center, so we're just gonna center it up with this bracket, and yeah, so we'll go ahead and cut 2 of these. Got our pieces, cut out some holes to make them lighter because this is a race truck. Hopefully everything's happy. It's all gonna fit. Get the welder out, weld this thing together. When we pull one side or both sides off, if it stays in the same location, or if we're gonna need some reinforcement, because I'd like to just remove this, take it to the welding table and reinforce it over there, rather than try and do it all under here. Be gentle. All right, We got it off, and I do not think it moved. So we can just go set this on the welding table very gently and reinforce it over here. So this thing is holding together pretty good over here on the welding table, but I did prop up the center just to make sure, keep them lines where they need to be. So we need to make a 1.5 inch structure the way that it will create structure, so it's steel standing up this way. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut 2.5 inch bars for here, put those there, and I'll cut 2.5 inch bars for there. And then once I get all those tacked on, we'll go ahead and make the bars that are here. They'll also be at an angle, so we'll be able to measure the angles a lot easier having these and these all in place.
Check how we moving with the vision in mind. I'm low side with my niggas.
Quick break in all this building to tell you guys about today's video sponsor, Chomps. Chomps is one of the best on-the-go snacks that I find myself eating all the time. Chomps is a family-owned snack brand offering high-quality protein snacks with 10 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar per stick. I personally love the jalapeno flavor, but they have a ton of flavors to choose from, including original beef, barbecue, mild, and more. These things keep me from snacking on candy potato chips all day because they are so easy to grab when I'm busy here in the shop or rushing out the door to do all the random stuff that we do all the time. Not to mention, I don't have to feel guilty about it at all because there's 0 grams of sugar and 10 grams of protein per stick, which keeps me fueled up and ready to go throughout the day. And look, it's as easy as grab a stick, rip her open, take a bite, and you're snacking. The best part of all of this is they're gluten-free and allergy-friendly, which is a key factor for our household because if you didn't know, my wife is celiac and it is insanely hard to eat gluten-free, and this helps us keep gluten-free all day, every day. It's always cool to promote a product we already use, and we've been chomping on Chomps for months now. And throughout the months, I can honestly say that I've grown to love these more than almost any other snack, and they're hands down my favorite meat sticks on the market. Now, if you guys have tried Chomps, I want you to let me know down in the comments below what your favorite flavor is, and if you haven't, let me know what flavor you want to try. Now, what I need you to do is click the link in the description to learn more, and I want you to head over to chomps.com/fabworks and pick yourself up some of this delicious, high-quality protein snackage, because let me tell you, it's worth every penny. Thank you to Chomps for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to the live action.
Busy with slime. You making plays, I'm feeling the madame. I feel my pocket vibrating. I'm low side with my
Parts and pieces. Whew. I burnt myself. I'm gonna get my welding gloves on. All we have to do now is connect the dots. So we'll measure from here to here, make sure that we have the angle right, and weld it all up, and we have a pretty this loss of words, how stout, sick, and awesome this thing is. Imagine that, it works for both sides. Does not work front and back. So we use some more cardboard. So these pieces go here. This one is a little short, but we're just gonna add a 1/4 inch. Now I can just measure long to short, put it all into the computer. That's hot. Fingers do not like that. So it does look like it's gonna work. See if this one fits. Per usual, we're barely even just a little bit short, but hey, it's good to go. All right, we have a transmission crossmember. It's hot in certain places, so I'm gonna try not to burn myself. No room in between where we need to be, so we'll go ahead and pull this off, weld it out. So heavy. And we can see if it fits still. Now, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do if it doesn't fit, because it's done, but we'll just check it one more time before we take it outside and paint it, just to be sure everything's still happy. But overall, it fits, and we're about to see if this thing will hold the weight. I mean, I know it'll hold the weight. Moment of truth. I wonder if the transmission's gonna come crashing down. good to go. All right, sweet. Now that the transmission has been mounted for the permanent kind of mount, we'll cut off this exhaust and start thinking about how we're gonna route that. First thing we gotta do to fix this exhaust is remove everything that's here. All right, now that the exhaust is no longer under the truck, we're gonna pull the header out, cut the rest of this exhaust pipe off, weld on a V-band so we can start building off the V-band and back. So we'll drop this down, pull the header, and get to work. Gee, it's pretty messy in here. Under the hood, we do have a lot of other things to address. The wiring's everywhere, and it's just an absolute nightmare in here, honestly. But for now, we're ignoring all that, and we're working on the exhaust. So pull the exhaust off, intake off, get it out of our way, start pulling the bolts off for the header. Oh, buddy, try not to scratch it. Sick. This LC header's in great shape. I did absolutely cook it, MIG welding to it in a storage unit in Northern Idaho, but hey, we're here now, and it is what it is. So we'll go clean this up the best we can and weld a V-band to this thing. All right, so we were gonna build the exhaust, but it turns out I don't have any V-bands. So we ordered some, they'll be here in 2 days. We're just gonna carry on like that didn't happen, and we'll pick right back up on the exhaust. What we need to do real quickly here, we have no front drive shaft, as you can see here, Bluetooth. We need to fix that for one, and for two, we need to fix the rear drive shaft. It does not have enough slip. So we are going to either find a new drive shaft for the rear or have this one modified, and we need to find a drive shaft, hopefully the right length for the front. The front pinion flange is not going to match, so we're gonna have to re-drill the flange, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal. So we'll go outside, see what kind of drive shafts we have, and if we have the correct one and it clears this cross member, I'm seeing some potential issues here. So if it clears the cross member, all sorts of good things, we'll report back. If not, I'll let you know, you know what I'm saying? Could be bad. That's looking in the way. 5 3/4, 44. Those are our numbers. We're gonna go out back to the junkyard. Believe it or not, with all these drive shafts, we found one front that may work, and we actually don't have a rear. So here's what it is. Well, the rear hasn't hurt anything yet, and I don't think it will right now. So we'll have that one shortened, and we'll go see if this one bolts up. All my junk, don't look at it. It's hot. So that side of the drive shaft bolts right in because we used the newer transfer case, and this is a newer drive shaft, but the front half, not so much. The holes are close, but they do not line up no matter how we spin this thing. So we'll spin it about 45 degrees, offset all these holes. Nice drill bits helps. Go slow and use oil. That's all I can recommend. We have the drive shaft in place. We have our vice grips on here holding the yoke to the flange. Just use our transfer punch, put this in the hole, make sure it's pretty square. Ow, just transfer that center over to the next one. And we're gonna drill these one by one. All right, we now have 2 perfectly drilled, so we can center punch the other 2, and we'll be done drilling holes. I bought these drill bits on Amazon. They're really kick butt. Put a link right here. Now we'll tighten that up. I didn't even think about it till now, but I was worried this wasn't gonna clear, but we're clearing just fine. Next thing we're working on is the bump stop pad needs to come down about 1 inch. We could raise the bump stop, but that would require taking the whole leaf pack apart, building something on there. I think it's just gonna be easier to weld this on. These bump stops are gonna be permanent. I don't plan on any other engine solution going in here, so we can count on this oil pan being in the way the entire time. So they just need to be about 2.5 inches wide, and we're gonna go with 3 1/4 long and by 1 inch. So we'll just go cut that out on the plas, weld it up. We have all the pieces, so we'll go clean them up on the grinder, and then we're just gonna MIG weld this stuff together. It's just a bump stop, it'll be okay. All right, we have all of our pieces, and as you can see here, we're literally just building a little box. So we'll tack them all together, weld them all together. So while we wait for those bump stops to cool down, they're very hot right now, we're gonna make a bracket for the fuel pump. I kind of thought of using pipe to grab this and make a bracket off the pipe, but then my lovely wife made a suggestion that I just cut one out on the plasma table, and I was like, well, I can't do that, but I can. So this is like 1.85 inches, so it's a little bigger, 1 3/4. So we can't use any of the tubing I have on hand. What we can do is get some flat pieces of tubing and make a little stink to where it just grabs onto that, and then it'll have some sort of tensioning mechanism, and we'll bolt this to the bracket that we're gonna make that will ultimately bolt to the frame. So our old fuel pump mount, while functional and highly custom, probably not the safest thing in the world. So removing the 14 zip ties. So this, hopefully, just go right here and bam. We will just go ahead and have something welded here and here. We'll have a bolt in there and then we'll just clamp it in like that. But I'll just go ahead and make one more of these. Yeah, we'll have 2 of these, little plate. It'll look really good. Bang. Quite a bit of grinding later, we have bracketry. Fuel pump mount is looking sick. It's now hot. So we're gonna go prep the locations that we're gonna weld our bump stops to. So, dang, it fits, crazy. Makes any sense. Only grind away in the area you want to weld to. We now have both of our bump stops welded in, and we have our fuel pump mount that we built here. Tightening them up with your hand makes this thing super solid. It's pretty slick. This is a nice little, big block Ford fuel pump, should be good for a little 4-cylinder. So we got this all routed, zip tied. It is good to go. So coming into the engine bay, we have fuse blocks everywhere. Battery is not tied down. This doesn't even work, so makes sense just to ditch that. And we also have a proper boost gauge because I do not think this one's working. So this is the starter wire. So we're gonna go through, pull everything out. I have spent the better part of yesterday absolutely ripping and tearing at the engine bay, but it is looking absolutely fantastic. We've got a lot of wires cleaned up, everything's loomed, got a bunch of stuff deleted that we no longer need anymore, and what we need to do now is get the battery in here, terminate the starter wire, a lot shorter than that. We have our fuse brick here that we have a ton of extra wire on, which is sweet. I'd rather extra wire than not enough wire, but I want to mount it right here. We'll cut a little plate on the plasma table, get this bolted in right there. We'll loom this side, terminate this side a lot shorter, just get some new ends on this, and that side will be done. I do want to install a new boost gauge. We've got an electronic one that we will replace this crappy thing with, and after that we're basically done in here. It looks so much better. We do need to eventually get some tanks, coolant overflow, and our wiper reservoir. We'll get both of those built eventually, but for now I'm really liking the look of this, and we'll be able to call the engine bay done and move on to the next thing. So let's wrap this thing up, and yeah, I just look at that. It looks so much better. So this is a fuse bracket holder. Bolt our fuse box to it, and then it's got a hole to bolt it to our engine bay. So no extra holes, and it'll be plenty strong with 14 gauge steel. I fully intended to put this boost gauge on there, but we're not gonna. It's the exact same or worse. It's just another cheap boost gauge. I thought it was a fully digital one that was nice, and it's not, so we're just not gonna do that. The engine bay though is looking a whole lot better. Basically done. We're gonna go ahead and hop back on the exhaust because our V-bands came in. This is the header that I welded to in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, and it's pretty rough. So we're gonna cut off the pipe that we had, and we're just gonna try and dissect it and save as much of the header as possible because we do need the outlet to be where it is. So. Yeah, that was welded on very interesting like. Look at that thing. After a few minutes of cleaning it up, it came out pretty good. All stainless too, because why would you do anything else? You got a welder. Boop, 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 boop. This is a 2.5 inch V-band. This is the header we're welding it to. I didn't remember that this is 2 1/4. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stick this back in there to test fit it. We'll get a piece. This is 2 1/2. It'll end up just going on like that. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna work the exhaust to a flat under the car, and that is where we'll install the V-band. So we have all those pre-bent pieces in the exhaust kit, and we'll just go under there, mock it up, pull it back out, weld it, and also do this. This is cool because it's actually gonna be a higher flowing exhaust. Bolt, classic. All right, we'll get 2 bolts in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this pre-bent piece of pipe. We cut the end off it, obviously, and hopefully it's at the right angle for us to just set it here, have this going where we want it to go, which it does appear to be. It's actually looking really good. And then we have our O2 sensor wire here that we'll have to an O2 sensor somewhere in this general vicinity. And yeah, it should all work out. So all we have to do is mark this here and get to cutting. Dang, I can just shove it on there. Look at that. It's almost exactly where it needs to be. The objective here is to somehow get this off without knocking the piece of tubing that is just wedged on the end off. I mean, the hopes are high, reality's low of this happening. Super gentle. Come on, don't. Oh, we did it. We got this marked all the way around the cut, and then I also gave it a little tick here to signify its orientation. Hopefully we can make this thing line back up. Just like so. Mark all the spots that we can. We got a few good tacks on this thing, and before we get too carried away, I want to make sure that nothing moved. It looks like we are good. So we're just gonna throw this long piece of tubing on to make sure this is headed the way we want it to head. And we are a little bit close to the transfer case, but I'd rather it over this way because we're gonna cut back over that way and go back. So I'm gonna call it good there and weld on a V-band. So here's our V-band, and generally speaking, I like to weld the V-band on when it is clamped to the other half of the V-band. Helps dissipate heat, and if any warping happens, hopefully they warp together. But yeah, really weld slow, try not to put too much heat into it, and have fun. V-bands are cool. I like using them, but it is frustrating when the clamps break, or they warp when you weld them, or any of the other numerous things that can happen. And now that we have the header back on with the V-band on it, we're gonna work outward. We're gonna come back, tuck in right under the output of the transfer case over to this side where we don't have a fuel tank in the way, where we can run this exhaust all the way out the back. I'm trying to make this like a sleeper street truck, so hopefully we can make the exhaust kind of quiet and enjoyable to drive down the highway and unsuspecting when we roll race diesels. We're making good progress. We've made a 90, another 90, put the flex joint in, and gotten off of our V-band. So the flex joint is really just to make sure that the header portion doesn't see too much stress from the back half of the exhaust, lets everything flex a little bit. But now we get to do the over axle bit. So we're gonna come out with a straight piece. We'll use 2 of these pre-bent 45s, and we can just go tink tink and get it up higher. We'll obviously cut this one down so it's right in that vicinity, and yeah, we should be just about out the tailpipe. This exhaust was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I don't know why. I thought it'd be hard. Roll. Getting ready to go over the axle with these 45s here, and unfortunately the one tube I welded more than 4 tacks is the one I need to cut the tacks on and twist a little bit so that we can get away from that shock over there. It's just a bunch of tight stuff in a tight area, so it is what it is, and you know, from time to time you'll have to cut apart what you just welded. All right, so this impossible to get off bolt, I cut in half and I got it off. Getting this last tailpipe level or parallel with the frame is kind of important, because when you can see through the tire wheel well, you will see that it's not true with that. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and mess with this and try and bring the front of it down a little bit while also staying out of the shock's way, because we're getting really close to that. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut about 6 inches off this, weld on a V-band here so that we can take this center section out, the header out, and the tailpipe out. We have a full exhaust. I could we could start it and hear what it sounds like. It'll be leaky. While this isn't an accurate representation of what it's gonna sound like, it's an accurate representation of what I would wish it to sound like. Dang, thank you. I'm so excited to maybe hear the supercharger for the first time. Can confirm, still loud. It's so much quieter in the truck though, it's kind of unreal. I don't know if that one muffler is gonna be enough. I might end up putting another muffler on this thing. The sound comes out the tailpipe, that's nice. Now that we have the whole exhaust tack together, we got these stainless exhaust hangers. We're just gonna find a few different places like this. So we'll put another one back here, either off this side or something like that. And we're gonna put these in with some rib nuts. We may end up welding this exhaust hanger straight to the muffler. Right now, this exhaust is going to just kind of run into our rear bumper, but we won't have this rear bumper for too awful long. I don't like it very much, and we've got good plans for a new one. I should probably mount the muffler first. So unfortunately, none of these existing muffler mounts are gonna do us any good, these hangers. So we'll cut them all off, and we're gonna cut the tailpipe off with just 3/8 or a ½ inch of pipe remaining behind it. Got my baby cleaned up. This is a straight through muffler. This is not gonna muffle a whole lot. It kinda looks silly, but we'll see what it looks like when it's sitting on the ground. Definitely want one more hanger in it, but right now it's looking pretty good, other than this is tilted down a little bit. But I guess before we get too carried away, let's hear what it sounds like. That's cool. It's still loud, but it is so much better. I do think this will probably end up with another muffler one day. We do need to get the front O2 sensor welded on, and I actually don't know where I have room for another muffler. I could have put one here, but I went up way soon. So as of right now, we don't have room for another muffler. So maybe we'll just look for another tip or can. Anyone got any suggestions? Drop one below. All right, let's go test fit this bad boy. It's looking a lot better and very promising. But we don't have that much to go up. And that's just life there. Everything works and it fits. The last thing we need to do before we get carried away and do all this is we need to get an O2 sensor bung welded on in here. We're gonna put it hopefully right here on the other side of the drive shaft. Hopefully everything fits. I'm gonna grab the O2 sensor and the bung. We're gonna keep the O2 sensor over here. We will go ahead, put the O2 sensor facing upwards towards the drive shaft, keep the wires out of the way. And this is the O2 sensor bung, a little stainless bung. And we're just gonna put it up here where it needs to go and get a Sharpie, mark it real quick. All right, and now we can pull all the exhaust down. And you can see here, we're gonna weld that O2 sensor in. Done welding all this stuff and we get to install the exhaust. We may turn this into a turbo truck, and when that happens, we might need to redo the exhaust. But hey, right now it's gonna be great. We are putting this in for hopefully the last time. It's looking promising. We'll get a V-band, put it in there. We need to unscrew the O2 sensor from the other bung and thread it into our bung. For the first time in this thing's life, it has an O2 sensor. We got the exhaust in, it's all bolted together, and now we're gonna hear what this thing sounds like before we hop onto the rear diff. Sounds really good at idle. It's a little raspy, a little loud, but it sounds good overall. Raspy still. I don't think the ECU has quite learned that it has an O2 sensor yet, but it's good. This is a Toyota Tacoma differential that we're gonna put in this rear axle. So there are a couple modifications we have to do to get in there, but first things first, we got to take out the drive shaft, differential, and the axle shaft so we can get the differential out. Thing is so shiny. It's called truck glitter. Well, I was kind of worried about notching this housing to get this locker in there, but I'm no longer worried. There is so much glitter in this. Look at it's just chunks and glitter. So I guess that's just bearing wear over a long time. Oh! So the preload on this differential is just done. Well, I'll link and lock this and throw it in something else. We've got the axle housing and the differential cleaned up. The sealed surfaces are nice and ready to go. But the Tacoma E-locker is just like an 8-inch Toyota mini truck diff, except it's got this big E-locker action. So we're gonna have to actually take a notch out of the housing up here. And what we do is we set the gasket that you get from Toyota up here. We'll have to pull these 3 studs and we'll just Sharpie in this little notch that we have to grind out. We'll drill and tap 2 more holes and we have the housing modified to accept this Tacoma E-locker. So let's get to work, pull these studs out, notch this thing up. All right, so we got this gasket on here and now you can actually see the part of the housing we need to notch out. So it's not a ton, but it's enough. It's a little bent. Well, what we're doing here is we are freaking locking this differential in. You can see that just snapped over, and when this is snapped over, now this is basically a welded diff. So we'll put this back in, and when we do end up getting the proper wiring harness, we'll have to pull this all apart again. But for now, we're okay with a welded diff. Now that we have this back together and it's a locked differential, let's see if we did enough clearancing. All right, so what we have to do now is there's 2 holes in this differential actuator, and we're gonna have to use a transfer punch, transfer those holes in, and try our hardest to drill these holes perfectly square. Actually, I have to take the actuator back off. So I saw a witness mark right here and the diff wouldn't seat flush on this mating surface. So that told me there was an issue. So we smashed it out with this punch. I have taped this drill bit to keep it centered because we are not on a flat surface. So we broke off the transfer punch inside the hole. We're still trying to tap these holes, so all right. Oh, the holes drilled. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some weird locations. This one I'm most worried about. I think this one may end up being a little off. We'll find out. So we'll get the tap out, tap these 4 holes, and see if we messed up. The goal here is to not break the tap it very square, and hopefully we drilled the holes in the right spot. I do believe we may have one that is cooked. We will know soon. Oh, it's not getting any lighter throughout the tape. Now, moment of truth. Can't even check that one with this one in, so. This is the one I'm scared about right here. It's not the happiest thing in the world. We'll definitely have to use a bolt in this one. but it does seem as though all taps will work at least pretty good. Yep, that one's good. That one's good. Not quite as good. And then we need to go buy another stud in the morning. Sweet. Now all we have to do is take this back out, put the motor back in, put everything back together after we put some sealant on this, grip in for the final time, axle shafts in the front for the final time, put the brakes in there, bleed the brakes, put the drive shaft back, and we're good. That's all. Done. Tires, and we're gonna go rip this thing. I'm not even gonna do that right now. Pork specs next, and we're done. We are locked and loaded. We're ready to go. I am freaking stoked, you guys. This thing has a rear locker. It's got freaking an exhaust. It's got a transmission mount. There's a whole bunch of things that were super sketchy that aren't anymore, so I feel like I can beat on this thing. So let's take this thing outside. Let's see if it'll do a donut, burnout, all the things. This thing is popping, and oh, my hair's crazy. This thing is already screeching around corners. It should kick it out pretty good. That thing whipped you.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, that was a little more than a U-turn. My bad. Yo, that was sick.
I literally was filming it outside.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
That was cool. Did we go around twice?
Yeah. That felt so controlled and so planted. Woo!
I got the roller coaster feeling in my stomach for a second. I wasn't expecting the full circle at first.
I haven't had that feeling since I spun that 240.
Oh, yeah.
Up towards Perg with Darian. That was awesome. It cut out on me.
Huh?
It cut out on me.
It cut out on you?
Yeah, I was gonna keep going, but it said no more. I wonder if my gas is low. Huh. Did it look cool?
Yeah.
Did it spin it?
Yeah.
It swung it.
I saw it.
That was more of a U-turn, you know?
It's small. It's a small little donut, too.
It's itty. All right, guys. Well, it's clear. This thing definitely does spinny, drifty things. Next time we need to get this thing really dialed in. I got a rear sway bar for this thing. The interior is absolutely trashed. The ECU is still on the ground. So yeah, we'll have a lot more to come. I want to build bumpers for this thing. I want it to look like an off-road truck, but be a street truck. So till next time, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you like this stuff, click the like button, the subscribe button, head over to Patreon, buy yourself an Old Yodas t-shirt because Old Yodas are dope. And hopefully that's not a cop.